Earlier today, I spoke with Nima Tavallaey, who's a sports journalist and founder of Semprenta.com. He's also 1/3 of the Italian Football Podcast. Hi, Nima, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well. We're a bit confused because we've signed a player that none of us have really heard of. So I'm hoping that you might be able to tell us a bit more about Lyanco and the player that we're going to get in Southampton.
Well, he's a 24-year-old. He turns 25 in February. Player with who's born in Brazil. His paternal grandfather is Serbian, so his full name is Lyanco Evangelista Silveira Neves Vojnovic, which is rather different. That mix of Serbia and Brazil. He can play for both. He decided to play for the Brazilian under-23s youth level, but he also played for Serbia under-19s. He joined Torino in the summer of 2017, or the deal was announced in March, that he'd come to Torino for about 6-7 million euros, including add-ons, and he was an express request by then manager Sinisa Mihajlovic, also Serbian, who wanted a central defender who was a bit quicker than the ones he had. They sent him out on loan to Bologna during the 18-19 season, and that's really when he had his best spell in the Serie A. And it's been strange because he was a player that Torino really counted on, and were really counting on building and to potentially sell on for a rather hefty fee. But it didn't turn out that way, unfortunately, for Torino. And his spell at Torino is somewhat a bit weird for most people. I interviewed Diego Fornaro, who's a Torino, one of the best journalists in Italy covering Torino, and his reaction was, we expected so much, and I think he did as well, but now it never really materialized because it was a very turbulent period in Torino's, it was a very turbulent period throughout his time in the club's history, so to speak. They almost got relegated last season, and they shouldn't have been anywhere near that. They had a sporting director, Petracchi, who resigned to go to Roma, and there was a lot of arguing back and there, and there was no one in charge of the sporting project. They hired Marco Giampaolo, who had absolutely no business being there because the owner Urbano Cairo couldn't get Ivan Juric, who is now there. So it's been quite chaotic few years there. So I think for him, he's not too motivated to stay at Torino. He's been looking to go away from Torino pretty much all summer. There was talks of Real Betis. That deal never materialized. So I think it's a good thing for everyone involved.
So we will look, obviously, at the Torino results. We'll look at their results last season. We'll look at the amount of goals they conceded, where they finished in the league. We'll notice that he wasn't really a regular for the side over the last 4 years. Are you saying that might be more to do with the club and the management and the way it was run, and we shouldn't focus on that too much when we're thinking about the individual and the player?
I wouldn't think at all about it when trying to judge him, because Torino have been a mess for 2-3 years now. Pretty much since the sporting director Petracchi left to go to Roma. They've been searching to find their new identity and their new sporting project, and now they have found that with Ivan Juric taking over and giving them the stability and a clear, coherent lines in terms of how they want to play. So with Lyanco, I wouldn't stare at all at that, because Torino have been in turmoil. They've got a good side, and they were almost got relegated last season, and they had no business being down the bottom where they were. I think what's the best thing that could have happened for all parties involved was to part ways. And I think that Southampton are getting a young player, a young defender who is very hungry. He wants to forget his period in the Serie A with Torino, because it wasn't good for anyone, and he struggled, the club struggled, and he'll come to Southampton looking to redeem himself, looking to build, get a kickstart, restart his career, and obviously playing in the Premier League is a great opportunity for him.
It certainly seems like he's a player who doesn't really lack self-confidence. He's quite he's quite positive about himself and his ability on social media, for example, because that's what we can really grasp at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he really is the typical modern footballer in that sense, tattooed from head to toe, and is all on social media doing incoherent antics that nobody except, I guess, his friends understand, or maybe I'm just exposing my age here, but yeah, he's a typical modern footballer in that sense. But I mean, he's also very in another sense, there's also a positive side to that, and that is that he's got a kid, he's got very stable family life. He's very he's very that part of his life is kind of very settled and taken care of, and so he wants to he's reached a point in his career where he understands that at 24, 25, it's make or break now. And given where he thinks he should be, and his self-confidence and his belief, he thinks he's a future top world-class center defender, and he understands that this is his a little bit last chance to prove that.
So, Nima, do you think this is someone who can hit the ground running, or someone that will take a bit of time to adapt to the Premier League?
I think he will take a little bit of time to adapt to the Premier League because it's a completely different game to Italy and Brazil, which are his previous experiences. So a little bit of time will be needed, but he is incredibly focused on succeeding. He's entirely focused on. He's coming motivated to Southampton to prove himself and to start by taking a starting, to cement himself in the starting lineup, and then from there on starting to to build and show that he's a very good central defender, and in order to get a move away to maybe a bigger club, which I think that's his ambition. He wants to play for the best in the world.
So it sounds like it could be a shrewd signing, actually.
Yeah, I think it is. I actually think this is a clever signing. It's one where that doesn't cost you too much, and it's one where you can if he has we know how the value in the Premier League players once they they can shoot through the roof, and I think he's a player that if he has a really good season, you could be looking at selling him for 40-50 million in a year if everything works together and it works for him, and he's able to showcase all the talent that he actually has. Then because there was a lot of expectation when he came to Torino, and he is a talented player. He is a very good player. The talent is there. It's just about getting it out.